Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm not raving, you're raving. And we're back on the TB-03, and in this video we will be doing Fatboy Slim's Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat. Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat. Sorry about that. Anyway, this pattern has got 4 parts to it. So what we're going to do is go through each of the 4 parts and then have a little play at putting them together as a track. So I've got the TB-03 set on pattern group number 2, or pattern group II, and I've got the TB-03 in step mode. So if we go to mode, you can see it's in step. That's the way I like to program. That's how I program all these tutorials. So the first pattern is in fact this one. So to program this bass line in, it's actually quite simple. So we'll just flip the unit into right mode and put it into pitch mode. And as you can see, I've already sort of programmed this in. I'm kind of cheating, but it's all for educational purposes. So the first note we need is a normal G. So no up or down on the octaves. So it will just be a G. And then 2, 3 and 4 are ties. 3 and 4. And then 5 again is a G, followed by 3 ties. So tie, tie, tie. Number 9 also a G, this time followed by 2 ties. Number 12 is a G, followed by 1 tie. And then 14 is an F, but it's an up. So up an octave and F. And then 15 and 16 are ties. Whoops. 15 tie and 16 tie. It's up to you, but you don't have to make 16 a tie. It's just whatever sounds right to you. So that's basically the first pattern, which gives us the only thing that's missing is the accents. So if we just go back, and then there's an accent on 1, put it in pitch mode, accent on 1, 5, there's basically an accent on every note on this pattern, and that this should sound a little bit more similar. And that's the first pattern. Also, if you think the notes are too long, what you can always do, pop it back into right mode, put it into pitch mode, and then the step before every note, so on the 4 we can make this a rest, and then it would be 8, make that a rest, 11, make that a rest, and let's make 16 a rest. That sounds a bit more bouncy, the notes are a bit shorter, but again, it's personal preference. If it sounds more right to you like that, then go for it. So the next pattern, we actually drop step 12, so it sounds like this. And obviously all you do is, if I put it into right mode, pitch mode, and let's go to 12, where that note should have been, which was a G with an accent, and let's run that. It's exactly the same as the first pattern. However, if I press the time mode and press rest, it's just that in the track, it's like gives it that little bit of a bounce on that bar, while there's is it Beardy Man doing his monologue over the top. So that's that pattern sorted. So that's pattern number 2. So pattern number 3, and you'll notice throughout the video I'm just putting it back into play mode and then selecting whichever bank and pattern number I would like to put the patterns on. What you've got to bear in mind is, if you've got it on pattern group I, or pattern group 1, pattern group 2, you can only write to tracks 3 and 4. You can only use the pattern groups that are connected with this little line to the track. So pattern group 2, you can write to track 3 and 4. You can't, however, use a pattern from another pattern group, so just bear that in mind. So the third pattern sounds like this, and it's got like the bass on the offbeats. So let's have a look at programming that. Pop it into right mode, pitch mode as always, and then number 1, it's basically the same pattern as the first pattern, but then we've got the lower notes on the offbeats. So 1 is a G, 2 is a tie, 3 is a lower G, 4 is a tie, 5, bear with me, is a G, 6 is a tie, 7 is a lower G, so down an octave, G, 8 is a tie, 9 is a normal G, 10, hold on, that wasn't a normal G, was it? So up, no octave selected, G, sorry, that was 9, we're on 10 now, which is a tie, 11 is a lower G, 12 is a normal G, yep, normal G, 13 is a tie, 14 is up and an F, and 15 is also up, which is already on, and an F. Now with the accents, we go for the normal octave G, so that's on 1, 5, 9, 12, and 14, and 15. Now this won't sound quite right. Excuse me, won't sound quite right because actually it does. And the reason it does is because I've got a slide on 14, which I've previously already put in, but with no slide it sounds a bit weird. So you need the slide on 14. Again, it's personal preference. If you want to put accents on the lower notes, so it'd be 3, 7, 11, it adds that kind of squelch to the lower notes. However, if it's in the mix with a song, it might be conflicting with another bass line you've got, but again, it's personal preference. So with accents on the offbeat, and if we take the accents off the offbeat, it sounds like this. So it gives a nice comparison between the higher G's and the lower G's. Again, the accent is controlled by the accent knob. So you can just bring it in or fade it out to your heart's content. Okay, so the fourth and final pan, I played around with this for quite a while, but I've sort of settled on this. It doesn't sound 100% right, but if anybody can suggest any ways to improve it, please comment below and let me know. So if we go through this pan, pop it into right mode, obviously pitch mode. So we have number 1 is a G, number 2 is a G, and number 3 is a G, number 4 is a tie, number 5 is an upper G, I think, yep, number 6 is a tie, number 7 is a normal G, so is number 8, number 9 is an upper G, number 10 is a tie, number 11 is a lower G, number 12 is an octave up from normal, A sharp, 13 is a tie, 14 is a normal G, and 15 is an A sharp, and 16 is a rest. So if we listen to that, it won't sound right yet because we haven't put any accents or slides in. So accent on 1, accent on 2, accent on 3, accent on 5, accent on 7, 8 and 9, and accent on 11, 12 and 14, and 15 is a slide, which it's already been left there from when I programmed it in, but we also have an accent. So if we listen to this, it doesn't sound quite right to the original, but let's have a listen. So we've got our 4 patterns programmed in, and I will be putting the pattern grids at the end so you can study them, and if you can't follow the video quite right because of my pacing, I'm going too fast, you can always analyze those and program it in yourself. What we'll do now is have a little practice at putting them together in a track. So obviously we're on pattern group I, and I've got the selector at track 3, So if we pop it into write mode, I usually like to start on bar 1. So bar 1, let's get this running. You can see I've already programmed something in here. So bar 1, we're going to have 8A, tap that in, and just turn this down a bit. Number 2 again is 8A, tap that in. Number 3 we're going to go for 8A, tap that in, and number 4 8A, tap that in. Now number 5 we're going to go for, you've guessed it, 5A, tap that in, 6A, tap that in. 5A, tap that in, and 5A, tap that in. Then we're going to go for, you guessed it, yep, 8B, tap that in, 8B, tap that in, 8B, tap that in, and then we're going to go for, you guessed it, 5B, tap that in, 5B, tap it in, 5B, tap it in, and 5B, tap it in. So that gives us, if we go back to the 16th track, that gives us a 16 bar pattern, and I'm just going to press DC, so that tells the TB-03 to go back to the beginning. So if I just stop that and then put it into play mode, press bar reset, and it obviously will play through the tracks that we've just programmed. And when it gets to 16, just forward it on a bit. It goes back to pattern 1, which is the Capo, and that basically tells the TB to go back to the beginning, or basically you tell it that 16 is the very last bar. Also what we'll do, and this is covered in another video so I won't touch too much on it, is put it into write mode. We want to use the Del Segno to get it to go to a specific point. So if we say we want it to go to 13, because at 13, put it into play mode, it goes to that last bar with the interesting notes on it. So if we put it into write mode, go to 13, make sure it's running, press the Del Segno button, tap it in, and then stop that. We can use this to play around and navigate through the track. So bar reset to get it back to the beginning. Let's forward it on a little bit. So we want to go back to the beginning. Del Capo, which we set, goes back to number 1. Sorry, that's bar reset. And then Del Segno, which is this one, which will take us to 13. Let's just let it run through. It goes back to 1. Del Segno. And that's job done. Obviously I went a bit fast on the track, right, because there is a track that I've got on my YouTube channel. I think it's 303 Programming Jedi Master, but I'll put a link to it at the end. Again, I will be regularly updating with all kinds of videos to do with music and programming drum machines and synthesizers. So if you subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.